Hey, everybody. Welcome to Power Hour. Filling in this week for the great Giles Tiger Thomas is the one and only Big Mike Cox. Michigan sucks. That's his name.
OHIO, go Bucks, 78 days.
So just
How you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. But Michigan people, don't get upset. It's a football rivalry thing. He's got nothing against the fine people of the state of Michigan, I'm sure.
Just Ann Arbor. That's all.
So two grumpy old men over 50. Perfect people to debate this. And we're talking about the motorcycle stance. So this came up. I'm not even sure who brought it up originally. It's been on every damn Instagram page and YouTube videos. So I don't know who started the argument, but this is how guys stand now. And poor Derek, he's become like the poster child because this one picture has been used over and over and over again, which is why I didn't use this exact picture in any of my graphics. I want to give it a rest. And I don't want to pick on Derek, but they all stand like this now. Absolutely. Yeah. No doubt about that. So let's go to a little bit of judging footage from recent shows, just to show you it's not just Derek, because I don't want anyone to think we're picking on Derek. I like Derek. So Pittsburgh Pro. Eventually the video will start moving. So this was first call out. Martin, Bonac, Derek, and Walker. And you'll see they all do. This is how everybody stands now, with the legs sort of spread apart like they're riding a horse or a motorcycle, and the arms are way out like that. One more look at another bunch of guys, so you don't just see. These were the second call-out guys. Same thing. The reason you don't get to see much of this holding it is because they don't do the symmetry round anymore.
No.
So this is the 1991 Olympia.
Goosebumps.
But I want you guys to see, this was a round that we used to have called the symmetry round, and it was purely the quarter turns. There was no posing. So this is how they stood. So what's this? We got Gaspari, Haney. Yeah, you have to go a little closer. And from the side, you see they barely even twisted back then. Samir Banut, Dorian. I think Haney's going to be the last one. No. Did we pass? That's not Haney. That's Terry Pastel or something. But as you can see, they were tensing the muscles, but it was kept to a minimum on the twisting on the side and from the front. They didn't have their elbows out wide, and you can see how close their feet are. In fact, there's JJ Marshall. He had his feet completely together. So you started bodybuilding in the 80s, Mike. Is that how you learned how to do the quarter turns?
It was monkey see, monkey do, Ron. I literally practiced my posing to the 88 Olympia pre-judging. That they did about 13 comparisons, so that's what I did. And we all stood with our feet close together, arms not super exaggerated, but I flared my lats as wide as they would go. That's really as wide as my lats went, is what I flared them. You know what I mean? Because I wanted my delts to show the cap to my delts. I kind of sucked up to keep my waist tight. I flexed my obliques just like this. Now, I'm not sure where that transition happened, right? Even the quarter turns around, it was just like that. It wasn't super twisted, super exaggerated. And the judges also told you as well, arms to your side, face straight ahead. Don't twist. Put your arms down. Put your feet together. They were and listen, there was no music back then, the pre-judging, so everybody heard it. It was loud and clear. Yeah. But somewhere along the way, I remember Branch, he did that. And I think maybe is it to take up space, but after Branch run, Dexter didn't pose like that. I'm trying to think kind of where, Rami didn't, Brandon didn't. I don't know maybe it's to look bigger, I guess. But you don't really look bigger. You just kind of look like, and also I do remember Milos, he would say that on their podcast. Why is he riding the horse? And he kept going over, and he would go on Jay's podcast and say it's hilarious. And now you can't unsee that kind of that visual in your head. But I don't know how we got there, and I don't know it looks different. I know. Remember men's physique, they start doing that because remember we see them at the shows, they were all like the elbows were up, and then remember Tyler even said something about that.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of, it had to be like late 90s to early 2000s when it went from the old school style where your arms were pretty much down by your side and your feet were pretty close together. Because I remember Ronnie stood that way with very
Right.
Samson doing this. But toward when they all started, because I remember like Ronnie in his earlier shows, I remember pictures, I couldn't find any. He was doing it the way it was like you said, monkey see, monkey do. As soon as some guys started doing it and the judges weren't calling them on it, they all said, well, shit, now I'm going to look narrow. So I better open up like these guys and get my elbows out, put my feet a little bit further apart. I have a pretty funny story. The first time I saw Rafael Santoja, whose name, he's like Voldemort. You're not supposed to say his name because he runs the other IFBB elite over in Europe. But I went to a show called the IFBB Caribbean and Central American Championships back in 1997, I think it was. And it was in San Salvador, El Salvador. Gustavo Badel won the juniors. He was like 22 at the time. It's where I also saw Joe Stubbs for the first time. But the point is, I remember the lineups were huge because it was, there's a lot of countries in Central America and a lot of Caribbean islands. So there'd be like 30 middleweight guys, 30 or 40 light heavyweight guys all across the stage. And I remember distinctly, they didn't just put them in groups on the side like they do now. They had them all the way across. I don't know what they were thinking. But they were standing. So this is like late 90s. They were some of them were standing like Samson is here, the motorcycle pose. And Rafael was walking down the line, and I was up front so I could hear him. He's like, no pose, no pose, no pose, no pose. And he'd tell them, if they didn't understand him, he'd put his hands on their elbows and push them down. No pose, no pose. So he was trying to put an end to it. The IFBB, because that's when there was just one IFBB. It was everybody was all love and hugs. They were not allowing that, and at some point it became allowed. So I don't foresee. Actually, you know what? Tyler is very good with addressing things.
Yeah. So
I imagine he's going to come out with a video pretty soon with the official statement, and I'm very curious as to what that's going to be.
Ron, listen, now that I'm thinking about it, do the classic guys stand like this? What about the women? I don't recall seeing like the women's physique or the figure girls with their arms overly extended like that. And bikini girls, they've obviously got a totally separate way of posing along with wellness. But now that when you start like really thinking about that, it's just everybody now. It's kind of like just infecting the sport with that kind of pose. Does anybody not do that?
I want to say it's less common in classic. I'm trying to pull up. Like I said, it's hard to find because they don't stay in that position very long anymore. Like that round did Bob Chick, is he personally the one that got rid of the symmetry round? Do you know for sure?
There was a heated debate on DJ's podcast about that I actually turned it off halfway through. It was a little uncomfortable. Milos was heated with Bob, but from what I deciphered, it sounded like that. But I don't know. Is that even needed? We actually practice our quarter turns, right? That was part of our routine when we practice at home. Now, nowadays, you really don't need to practice that too much, do you? Just standing, I guess, hold it for a few seconds, but that was something we had to kind of nail and get used to doing. And it was always uncomfortable from the side because you'd cramp up and getting your glute right. But somewhere along the line, this became the norm. Branch Warren stood like that, though, Ron. Remember, I think it's just to take up space, but these guys are huge anyway. They take up space. Like Samson takes up a lot of space.
I mean,
right?
It's hard for us to know if they look better doing it the old school way because we'd have to see them do it both ways to judge that. I do think it's a little exaggerated the way that we see the elbows up so high. I'd like to see them down a little bit. I'd like to just sort of split the difference between old school and this. I think somewhere in between would probably be best if I was the one making the call.
And a lot of guys too, there's a lot of shapely guys, contrary to what a lot of people think. There's a lot of shapely guys now to where even if you brought your arms down a little bit, they still have small waists, right? I mean, for a 300-pound man, Samson's got a small ass waist with those crazy thighs, right? It's very similar to and again, it's very similar to Lee Haney look standing there. But remember, Samson had a picture up to where he stood like that. that, and they kind of compared to Lee Haney, and he looked absolutely like a Greek statue when he posed like that in the picture. But I would assume they may say something because this is what everybody's talking about now. And you would like I said, what's seen can't be unseen.
Yes.
So I can't. It's hard, and even the legs are so wide apart. But is that even needed too? Because I don't know. It just looks different. It looks to me. And again, I'm 52. I'm going to be 52 years old pretty soon.
Yep.
So take my opinion with a grain of salt. But you have to be very sensitive to how you say things now as well, because people get but the way Bob Parrish did it, Ron, the way Frank Hildebrand is doing it, even Akeem Albright is a huge guy right there, but it's not overly exaggerated and not wide. Tom Terwilliger, great memories.
Yeah,
that's that. It's, but again, even from the back, because what I try to do, or what I was taught is, you flex your lats to show your detail, right, and your width, but like kind of pose back a little bit. But when your arms are up like this wide, I mean, I kind of imagine like Derek doing a back lat spread, and then just holding it closer to the side would look absolutely ridiculous. But listen, again, we're grumpy old men, harking back to the days of Lee Labrada, Lee Haney, and Dorian Yates, right?
Yeah.
But that just looks classical to me. I guess that's what he's talking about. It's maybe not the physiques, but just how they're being presented now.
Yeah, I mean, the one I just never want to see. I never want to see the elbows up that high. I don't want to see where they're like at a 90-degree angle. To me, that's ridiculous. Like here's Milos. Milos is a great example here. The elbows here, I don't think they're all the way down. So maybe this is like the best way. Elbows here aren't all the way down, but they're not flared up like you see like riding a motorcycle. And that's at all the local shows I've been to over the past couple of years, there's always a couple guys it's not always the novices, but way up high with the elbows, like where the elbows are almost, or the upper arm is almost parallel to the ground. And I'm like, no, dude, no, you can't even flex your lats like that. Your lats can't flex with your arms that high.
It could be nerves too, right? I know what you mean by the novice guy. It could be nerves, right? Because you may practice it one way, at home, but when those bright lights get to you and you get that cotton mouth and you're in your underwear, you're pretty much naked on stage, right? So you may forget, but I have seen those guys to where it's like they're getting pat down a little bit to where they're getting kind of rested on cop car. But it's just, I guess it's taught that way by coaches. I mean, you go to some of those posing clinics. Is that kind of what they're doing there? What they're being taught?
I see. That's a good question. I've done some posing clinics the past few months, and I push guys' elbows down. I'm like, no. And if their feet are too wide, I say put your feet a little closer together, because I think when your legs are that far apart, not only does it look odd, but it strikes me that you're trying to hide something. You're trying to make your legs look a lot bigger than they are. And that's fine to use your posing as a sort of form of illusion, but you have to do it in such a way that's not obvious, or else you just defeated the whole purpose. Because now you're like, look at me, look at my legs. They're so far apart. And their feet are like pointed all the way out. And they're trying to basically show their legs sideways from the front to try to make up for a lack of actual thickness in the thighs.
But you know what, too, Ron? Like nowadays, man, it's good. There's so much information, but there's almost too much, right? We didn't have a lot of that information, so we had to trial and error it. I didn't have a lot of times when I'm 16 years old. I'd have guys in the gym helping me, pose. As I got older, God bless Jim Omni, Toledo, Ohio. He's a lifesaver, helped me with pose and training. But before I got to Toledo, I didn't have that. So it was like, does this look better? You go on stage, you hope like your parents get some Polaroids of you or some digital, just to get some feedback, because you really didn't have that. You had your mirror, right? As you got older and like I said, to the gyms and you met some people, they helped you out with your posing a little bit. But, it's just when you have all that information, and again, it's maybe they've never tried just keeping their elbows to the side. Maybe they said, hey, put them up. Because maybe that looks good too, but you just don't know. You have to give it a chance. But when you have a posing coach, a prep coach, you don't have a chance to play with it. You don't have a chance to kind of do it on your own to kind of learn how this works for your body, how this looks for your body. So, you know what I mean? It's just like I said, sometimes too much information is not a good thing. You know, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen right now in the sport, right? Posing coach, hypertrophy coach, therapist, which is awesome. Listen, I swear to God, I'm not hating. I wish I had all this crap. I would have been like 285, right? Maybe, but Pablo Escobar and me, but it was meant to be. I'm where I'm supposed to be right now.
Yeah.
Love you, Mandy. But it's just, we didn't have, I think finding that journey on your own, Ron, like just finding your body, what works for your body, what poses work for your body is part of the experience. And maybe when you get older down the line, you get that help, but just do it on your own for a little bit, man. Just learn what works. So when you go to a coach and he says, do it that way, say, hey man, listen, I've done it this way. Maybe let's try it. So who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to read some comments here. Got, supposed to be relaxed. In what world is this relaxed? Yeah. I mean, so it's not, you're still, even the old school ways, they had everything tensed.
Yeah.
You never ever want to be on stage relaxed, especially if you have any kind of a belly or a gut. God, mine would be out to the friggin' drop onto the floor if I really let it relax. But there's a fine line between making it look like you're not overly exerting yourself, not flexing too hard.
Right.
People like gritting their teeth and they look like they're in pain and they're shaking. I'm like, oh, it makes me cringe because I'm feeling their discomfort, their nerves, their anxiety, and it's infectious. You want somebody to look really, really poised, confident, relaxed.
Like Frank Zane, like he was still flexing hard. It may not have looked like it, but he was, right? So it's just, you have to pumping iron, they stayed flexed. They may not have looked like it, but they were flexing hard.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And it's those days, the side poses were perfectly to the side. There was absolutely no twist at all.
No.
And I wonder when that started happening too. The first guy that twisted and didn't get called on it. Because the one thing, my pet peeve, I wish I had a picture, is the guys who, from the side, they put the rear arm like way up to their chest level. I'm like, no, dude, what do you think you're doing there? No. Okay. I'm going to share this tab instead. Here's me in the perfect front relaxed pose.
Beautiful.
Wow. Amazing. Look at the symmetry. Wow.
Right? And that's how you do it, right? Relax. But we practice that as amateurs, Ron, over and over. Like we were taught, like you hold your face a certain way, right? Like smile, all that was taught to us, like from magazines and from like the old school cast before us.
Yeah.
So
I wonder.
Walter, what's up, my dude?
Yeah, Walter's getting ready for the Masters Olympics.
Yes, sir.
Put me in your suitcase, Walter. I want to go to Tokyo. Shit.
The posts are hilarious. Good luck, brother.
Yeah. He is. He's got a great gym there. And where is he? I don't remember what's
just outside of Cleveland. I think Warren. Okay, Warren, Ohio.
Okay. You would know. You have the show it.
OHIO. Go Bucks.
That's the state of Ohio on his form. And 216 is an area code for
Michigan still sucks.
Bayou Muscles is Davey, new client I'm working with. What's up, Ron? Just got through eating my chicken and rice. Perfect. Keep eating. He's going to get in great shape for the summer. Your mom's flip-flop is only 17. So anyone who thinks this is like a generational argument, like all the old crusty guys like us, we want to see it go back to this style. Some of the younger guys, when they look at the older pictures and footage, they're like, oh, I actually like the way that looks better. So it's just a preference. It's not, it's not us saying the old bodybuilders were great and these new guys are all shit. No, not at all. Of course not. There's some guys now who I think would have held their own quite well in the 90s. Quite well.
Ron, you know who looks good in that crazy like motorcycle pose? Beirut. He looks like an absolute freak of nature. For some reason, it works. I don't know, because he just got that crazy taper and quads, but he looks absolutely ridiculous in that pose.
I'm gonna find it, because I don't think it's necessarily that everyone looks bad in it. It's a matter of some people exaggerate it. Oh, here we go. I'm going to show it. Share this tab. Okay, can you see Beirut's page now?
Yes.
All right, so Yeah, he starts off every posing video with that very wide stance. Looks good. Yeah, he does pull it off pretty well. It doesn't
He
look
pulls it off good. It's just like, dude, that dude's a freak, man.
Yeah.
That I hope to God he gets here, bro, because he would just wreck some shit at the Olympia.
Didn't we just go to war? No, Israel just went to war.
Yeah.
Stepped up to war. I don't know. I get confused.
Yeah.
But it's not looking good for Iranian.
No, that's all I thought of. Sadly, and I apologize, but I'm like, God, Barus and Hadi, son of a bitch.
I think Hadi will be okay.
I do too.
I think Hadi's got the hookup thanks to Hani.
Yes.
They worked so hard to build the exact right connections and channels to work through. I don't think Hadi's going to have a problem getting here at all. I hope not. Because come on, I want to see him battle. I want to see him, Samson, Derek, and Nick just tearing at each other's throats. Basically,
I think Hadi would actually win. I think it would be his year once again to win that damn show, bro.
I tell you, nobody's going to be as well rested and ready to cheer shit up as he is. Yeah, there's another one.
Damn.
Yeah, see, it doesn't look bad on him. Maybe you know what? I think it's guys with higher lats.
And you know what, too, Ron? I think now if we had an actual symmetry round and we could see them doing over and over and over again, they hit it and then hit the pose. Maybe if we saw them do it for a full 5, 6, 7, 8 comparisons.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't have to hold that pose that long. Like if you have to hold that pose over and over, you don't tell them how your delts are going to feel, right? Yeah. But it's not, well, even with the men's physique, they transition from it as well. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I'm trying to think and when we talk about it, I play it in my head like, okay, when did this? I go, okay, 2005. You start picturing these guys in your head posing, like when it transitioned.
Yeah. So this is an interesting thing Matt brought up. Should the front relaxed pose become a mandatory pose? Well, obviously not. It's part of the quarter turns, which they sort of fly right through these days.
Yeah.
There still are quarter turns in the judging, but they go very, very quickly. The only time you really see them is when the guys come out in groups before they do the first call out. They'll bring out like competitors number 1 through 6 and then 7 through 12. And they usually will turn them around a couple times, if that, and then they have them hit like 2 or 3 of the mandatory poses, and then they bring out the next group. But it doesn't need to be a mandatory pose. I don't want to see anything added to anything anymore. Just put it that way. Shows are freaking long enough.
No, dude, no. Like you know which guys have good symmetry, right? But I don't think you need to make this an actual round. Right, just because there's so many guys now, you can't, unfortunately, you can't make this an actual round anymore. I think we're past the point of actually making this, a 4, quarter turn. Okay, move on. Right. So, I don't know, but does it? If the judges know which guys have good shape and which guys don't, right?
Yeah.
So they got a good eye for this, but it's a funky. Yeah, I just see a Harley. I just picture Harley Davidson now.
You can see someone has a good point. Benji Perez says Samson doesn't have his legs apart because Samson's got huge legs. Yeah. Derek doesn't have small legs by any means.
Derek has huge legs. So
I don't think Derek needs to have his legs as far apart as he has them. That's how he was taught. That's and nobody until or unless Tyler makes a video and says, "All right, guys, listen up. From now on, nobody's arm should be higher than this," and he'll have like video demonstrations. But
didn't they tell men's physique that though a couple of years ago? They told them to bring the arms down in a video.
Yeah, I think the men's physique guys are the only ones that got any kind of,
But they went right back to where they're at.
I mean, with them, I kind of get it because they don't even get to pose.
Yeah, I feel bad. I kept starting to feel bad because when I see him, like, damn, that dude's shreddy. Yeah, I'm like, he wants to hit some front double bicep.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they sneak a pose in. They're not supposed to, but they do.
But it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick, man. Like, what are you gonna do when you can't really? If you're gonna enforce, you're gonna enforce it. But with all the hubbub now, but it's funny, man. Milos has been like screaming about this for a couple years now.
Yeah,
like. Is he like in every video? It's funny. He says it every time he reviews, even with you when he's talking with you.
Yeah,
he mentions that.
Yeah, he's a stickler for that. I want to show there's one good picture here in Lee Haney's. It was him. I used part of this for the thumb, but this is a good one. I like this picture. Well, Dorian, this picture's not doing Dorian any favors. He actually looked a lot better than what that picture would indicate, if that makes sense. But like Sean, I couldn't imagine Sean with his arms way up. I think it would look stupid on him. I mean, that's like perfection right there, the way he's hitting it.
And you know what Bob Chick says? He had a thumb rule, like as far your thumb should kind of touch where your thighs are when you relax. Maybe a little bit further than that, but you know your lats only go so far. I would think, man. Have you ever tried posing like this for a long time? Like even just right now, that just doesn't feel good at all. Maybe because I'm old, my shoulders are jacked up.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but this right here to me, this is just how classic physique should look. And the classic guys, they pull it off so well, right? And not to digress, but it's not about the open physique guys suck. It's just the classic guys kind of represent what the sport was, right? You know, they're it's extreme level, but it does represent what the smaller waist, the flow, the transition poses, it's just what we came up on. But don't get me wrong, the freak show is what pays the bills, right? So that's my off topic rant for a minute. Sorry.
No worries. I'm actually trying to find some footage of the classic guys. Oh, okay, that was actually a good one right there. I'll pause if I can get to that again. Come on, Ron, you can do it. I know you can do it.
Got this, bro.
I can do it. I just have to.
Yes. No, just no Commodore 64.
1, 2, Commodore 64. Okay, there we go. All right, so I'm going to do full screen. This will show. All right, so this was the last Classic Physique Olympia. You can see it on the screen now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we got Ramon, Brian, and Josema, and they don't have their arms up that.
No,
I would say Ramon, if anyone, has his arms up pretty high. Boy, he didn't look that good at this last Olympia. Now that I'm looking,
maybe that's just a bad pose for him.
Yeah, he looks small there compared to. I know he's not that small.
No, that's maybe my best pose.
Brian's arms are down.
Yeah.
Josema's arms are down completely. And both Josema, especially, has got a great back. So I've heard some of the guys argue, well, these guys' backs are so big they can't put their arms down. Like, shut up. Like Dorian and Lee Haney didn't have huge backs. Come on, don't be ridiculous.
That's just as far as their lats went. When you're standing like that, you're flexing your lats, right? You flex your lats as far as they go. You're right there, they're up a little bit. Like how Brian's doing that to me, like that's actually absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
how he's doing that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, Brian's a master poser, and he's an old school. He certainly is an old school guy. He's not.
And I think you should know how to pose like that, right? Even though he may not have the smallest waist, but even how he's standing like that, he hides his flaws. Like that's actually, it harkens back. Here we go again. It harkens back to what we were just looking at with Lee Haney, right? That and Sean Ray and even Dorian, like that classical beauty to the physique. Not that open guys aren't pretty, right? They're pretty and they're different. Even look at Sommerfeld though. There.
Yeah, he's got his arms down.
And the way Urs is doing that, to me, the Urs looks phenomenal. He pulls that off with his physique.
Yeah,
like that's a very good. It makes his waist look absolutely tiny. How his arms are a little bit higher, but he's sucking his waist in the vacuum.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Splitting the difference. His arms aren't by his side, but they're not high either. So I think some guys will probably look better the way Ursa's doing it with their elbows up a little bit. Some guys will look better, like we saw Brian, with their arms down more, with their elbows down more. It's probably just an individual thing that they need to play with, but I don't think anybody looks their best with the elbows way up high.
Look at Bumstead. He looks absolutely great in that pose, doesn't he?
Dude, I mean, people say, which pro bodybuilder would you like to look like? I said, none of them. I want to be Bumstead.
Like these guys are awesome, but that's going to be missed, man. That was a hell of a physique. That's a beautiful physique, bro.
That's a generational physique.
Yeah. Yeah. That's in that you kind of Ronnie Lee Haney type of, like I said, generational look, man. But again, look where his arms are.
Yeah.
But it's just weird how the differences in the classes, I mean, classic guys do it like this, open. I would think all open guys probably do that now, don't they? Now that I'm thinking about it,
yeah,
you got me pondering on some shit, bro.
No, I'm pretty sure almost all the open guys have their elbows up.
Damn.
Classic. Yeah, I'm gonna look at most recent Olympia judging. Every clip I had already had them posing. We're live.
It makes you. I wish my memory was better.
Don't we all?
I can't remember Jack.
Now I got to watch a emu commercial.
Yeah,
do you have so many people at the gym and everywhere just coming up and saying, "Hey, Mike," and you're like, "Hey, you, hey, buddy," because I can't.
Everybody's dude. Everybody's always dude. There are guys at the gym I've seen for 15 years to I have no idea what his name is. Me and Manny would sit in the gym all the time. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" But what I do is whenever we go somewhere, I say, "Man, if I don't introduce you, introduce yourself because I don't know who the hell it is."
Oh man. So I want to see if they leave these guys looking like that even for a second. Hottie's got the no. Hunter.
No.
Is this 2024? Yeah, I guess it is.
And again, it's just started to take run. I swear to God, look at that. They're not like that. This is just happening. This is just taking over the sport.
Yeah. So
but look at Hottie.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, his arms are up, but they're not up super high. The elbows aren't up high. Raphael's got his elbows a little higher than I would like to see.
It could, sometimes, man, maybe just in the excitement of I want to look big as hell on stage and wide as possible. You come out and just do one of those. But I would think that, but if you're not trained to bring it down, you just leave it up. But you're not there long. You're just kind of in that pose long enough to get a couple of pictures because they're not in those poses that long, right? Individually. When they're compared, they get destroyed, absolutely destroyed. Right?
Here's Hottie, Derek, Simpson, and Andrew. Yeah, they all have. Well, Derek's not really hitting it right there, but we know he does. We know he does the motorcycle.
Yeah.
I think Samson would look a little better with his arms down because he's got the structure, the symmetry, the shape, everything. Same with Jacked. See, I think they feel like they're going to lose width if they put their elbows down, but they're not going to lose. They're not going to lose anything if they put down a bit.
Those two are the biggest men in bodybuilding. But there's nobody's going to outmuscle either one of them. Period. True. There's nobody. They're like they're the Tyrannosaurus Rex of the sport. Nobody's going to out eat them, right? Yeah. So it would just. I think even with Andrew, like he has such a unicorn type physique. To me, such a unique look to him that even if his arms were down just a little bit more, he would look absolutely stunning. And I'm not trying to call another man. I'm not saying another man is absolutely stunning. So his physique would look stunning.
Stunning's not, but you could say stunning. If you said gorgeous, maybe we'd have.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, stunning.
Well, here's a good point. So Calandioscope says, "Isn't this what judges want to see?" So the athletes do what the judge. 100%. If the judges, like if Tyler's the head, what he says goes as far as how to pose. If he tells everyone, "This is what I want you to do for your side chest from now on," that's how they're all going to do it. If he says, "From now on, this is how you're going to hit your ab and thigh shot," he's the one to listen to. So if he comes out with a video. And I can't imagine he's going to go much longer without some sort of response to this, because it's been talked about for so long now, like the last week. That's how you know it's a slow week in bodybuilding. It's talking about the motorcycle pose. But he'll come out with something, and he'll address it, and he'll either say, "Do what you want," and whatever you think suits your physique best, or he'll say, "I don't want to see any more elbows way up high," and then people are going to get the memo, and once they start realizing this is going to affect my scoring, of course change.
But the thing again, too, it's just awesome that we're at a point in the sport where a head judge would actually come out and address something, right? Like there was so much non-transparency before, but because I'm sure something will come out. But if they actually added a symmetry round, just hypothetically speaking, do you think that would affect the scores? Did the symmetry round before affect the scores of of any bodybuilding show when they had it?
I don't know.
Yeah, did somebody dramatically move up? I know Gustavo Bedell, Olympia, he moved up because of muscularity that one year.
Right.
But does somebody come out in the symmetry round and you go, oh my God, look at him. Let's compare him. Right?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. I mean, it's like I said, they needed to get rid of rounds, I think, as they started adding to more divisions, because they couldn't have judging go till 3 a.m. Although there was that one Olympia, we were there till like 2 a.m. But I don't think we need to bring back the symmetry round. I just want to point out, this is the Shed. I am very, very grateful to have James calling Shed.
Oh my God.
I even say Shed in the middle of his name there. So James, the old showcases natural structure, which prevents being manipulated, hides structural flaws. Yeah, but I agree with that. I don't think any of these guys we're looking at here really have any structural flaws to hide.
No.
I saw somebody make a comment that, Derek and Hadi, the shorter guys, they don't have the wide structure, so they need to do this. I'm like, are you kidding me? They're very wide. They're just shorter. I mean, look at the width on Hadi and Derek. They're every bit as wide, frame-wise, as Samson and Andrew are.
I think too, Ron, what's funny? When you're there up close and you see Derek and Hadi, you see all those guys actually that close, they got good structures. Derek's got a great structure when he poses, right? I think when you move further back, it's just kind of a different look to him as when you're up close. Because when you're up close, you're splitting hairs, right?
Right.
I can think if it's close, maybe the structure may make a difference, but these guys all have great structure at this point. There's nobody really anymore, I'd say, that it's got a bad structure. Even like I said, Nick Walker has a good structure, right? His front relaxed pose is a damn good pose.
Right.
Like Nick actually owns that pose when he comes out. That's his, oh my God. When he walked out in New York, I was like, holy shit, that was the look at me, I'm back pose, right? Yeah. So certain guys own that pose. I think, if nowadays if somebody came out, hit that front relaxing individual, you'll pay notice right away. Obviously, you have to have a good physique to follow, but like a good structure is just kind of what draws your eye. Yeah, I mean, it draws your eye to Bob Parrish, it draws your eye to Lee Labrada, it draws your eye to those guys.
I'm trying to find Nick. Oh, here we go. Here's a good shot of Nick. Share this one instead. Share this tab. Yeah. So, for those who don't, I don't think he has the prettiest physique, but structurally, it's actually better than guys. A lot of that's a better structure, I think, than even Gaspari had. To be honest with you.
Oh yeah, way better than that, right?
He's wider across the shoulders. He's got the width, the waist. He gets shit on for his obliques if he relaxes his belly and everything. He does have a little thick, but it doesn't look thick at all there.
Mm-mm.
And see, he doesn't look. His elbows aren't up high at all there, at all.
No.
That's more like the old school style of hitting that shot.
And I think if they were, it would totally throw that physique off. Yeah. Right? Like that's a holy shit pose for Nick. Like he just looks. Dude, I hope he gets like top 3, just so Bob could announce him third place.
If his elbows are up high, Nick, in this front relax shot, I think it would make his waist look larger, look wider.
Exactly.
But he's got thickness and intensity there.
People like to shit on Nick, right? And this just because, it's the thing to do, right?
It's easy. He's an easy target. I mean, there's a few guys like that. So Kalyan says posing has become a lost art. One of those young guys we were referring to moments ago. Yeah, we got a couple. He's a young guy. Your mom's flip flop is only 17.
Wow.
So it is encouraging. Some of these, yes, youth is wasted on the old, as they say. Yes. No, youth is wasted on the young. Damn,
yes, that's what Priest would tell us. Youth is wasted on young, you assholes.
It's so true, though. Yeah. Let's see, look at those quads.
It's the pose. Like, I guess when you watch them now pose, they don't hold. Again, another gripe. You're not holding the poses that long. In prejudging, yes, right. But as a fan, I want to see the freak show for as long as I can, right? The pose routine. But again, it's just where we're at now. I think with posing, especially the routines, if you can pose, you can pose. I don't think you can you can't make yourself Melvin Anthony or Darren Charles, right? You have to kind of be. I think you got to be born like that. You could be a great poser, a serviceable poser, but to kind of just like wow the crowd. Damn, that's just insanity.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that is shape and structure personified right there.
To me, that's Mr. Olympia. To me, yeah, he's got a few flaws, but that kind of physique, is what a Mr. Olympia should look like. Him again. I'm a short guy, Ron. I love Derek and Hottie, but right to Samson and Andrew are the physiques to me. Like that's bodybuilding right now.
Yeah.
People go, oh, the physique sucks. No, the physiques now don't suck. I don't think they're as great as they were when we were young. But I think these two, like that's just bodybuilding, man. Like that's like, look at that. You can't. You can build that to a certain extent, but that's just God saying you're the one.
Oh, I mean, when he was in Dubai and Larry Wheels was putting up videos of him like a few years ago. I was like, damn, this guy's better than most of the pros, and he's never even competed.
Yeah, and the mayor of bodybuilding, I remember he would like talk about this guy. I'm like, Dan's crazy. What's Dan talking about? And I saw that Arnold Classic, and I was like, yep, I'm going to the jungle. I'm grabbing that Kool-Aid right now. What's ever left over, taking a big gulp. Ever since then, man, like that's just to me. And I'm always hoping that he'd do Tampa, whenever would do Tampa, but no such luck. But that to me is bodybuilding. Him and Samson, that is bodybuilding at its finest.
Yeah, trying to find a shot at him in the front. Relax. Good luck, Ron. Good luck. No, I agree. I mean, as far as becoming Mr. Olympia, we thought that about Flex. We thought that about Kevin. We thought that about Sean. So you never know.
No, but again, the judging now is, shall I say, fair. So on any given Saturday in October, any of those guys would be Mr. Olympia. Not so much in 2000 and 2001, especially 2001. You know what I mean? So everybody now's got a shot, and that's what I think the fun part of bodybuilding now.
Oh, and I think we're going to see that in Classic. I think we're going to see different champions every year or two. I don't think we're going to have a run of 6 titles in a row like Bumstead, maybe ever again.
Maybe there's some kid right now that's like 8.
Yeah,
that's going to see Andrew Jack and pick up weight, or some kid in Nigeria that's seeing Andrew.
It is Nigeria.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just maybe not in our lifetime, right? I think Classic and Men's Physique stole a lot of our bodybuilders. Right? They stole a lot of talent.
Dorian said that exact same thing. He said the talent pool has been diluted. We have guys who are in Classic and Men's Physique now that would have been amazing bodybuilders, but for whatever reason, they chose those divisions. Whereas back in the day, everybody with awesome genetics, they ended up in bodybuilding because that was the only place to go.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
you can see some of these guys in Classic would be damn good open guys if they put on, another 20, 30, whatever pounds.
And it's fun. You see a lot of guys that place like 7th, 8th, 9th that would make awesome bodybuilders that are in Classic. Not just some of the top guys, but even in Tampa, I see some dudes. I'm like, man, that dude would make a great bodybuilder. I don't know why he's in this class. Just eat a little bit, But again, it's just that the selfish meathead said, man, I wish Bumstead would have went to Kuwait back when it was popping. You know what I mean? Came back a monster.
I've seen guys in Men's Physique. There was a show, the Rhode Island show, a couple weeks ago I was at. The guy that won the Men's Physique probably would have won the bodybuilding. He had these monstrous arms, shoulders, chest, back, little tiny waist. You could see he had some legs. The board shorts weren't tight enough, but he would have won. But for whatever reason, he's probably has no interest in bodybuilding.
And I don't understand that. I'm old. I don't get it, but I don't understand how you just don't gravitate towards bodybuilding, right? It just to me, I always wanted to just be a freaking, people go, oh my God, you look disgusting. That was what the goal always was. Not to get to pick up girls, but just have a girl go, oh my God, you look absolutely disgusting.
You want to walk in a room and people would say to themselves, under their breath, holy shit.
Yes. Yes.
Or what
you want people to just go, oh my God, just to shake their head. But I guess now, you want the pretty abs and, the nice hair. And I just wanted to look gnarly and look big in a t-shirt.
Here's a good point. Non-FBB Bro says he's trying to show his back from the front. But even with your elbows down, like we were showing these guys, you could see all their lats from the front. This is 1991. This is 10,000 years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth. But Haney, Samir had a really good back, obviously.
Look at Samir. You can see Samir. And Dorian.
Dorian, you could see their lats perfectly from the front. Yeah, Rich actually looked really good at that show.
Yeah, but that was the kind of downfall. What did he get, like 10th that year?
That's Dawson. What was his name? Joe Dawson. That's who that
Joe
was.
Dawson.
Forgot about him. That was my first Olympia. There was like 31 guys in it that year.
It was huge.
It was ridiculous. I said, this English guy's not that good. And then I saw him. Like, okay, I guess he's pretty good.
Robbie Robinson was in Pumping Iron.
That's right. He's throwing the football around in that completely made up scene where they were talking. That was Ken Waller talking about how he was going to hide Mike Katz's T-shirt. And I'm pretty sure they filmed that after the whole,
they got it back.
A month or two after that was all done. So,
Fading the commentary.
Not really a good documentary. Yeah, but so yeah, you could see all the lats from the front. I don't think the lats.
And again, too, like your front double bicep, you see your lats. That's what's called immediately after that front relax. So, I mean, you only really see the lats from the front in a front relax. Again, front relax, you're looking at that structure. Like who has that great structure?
Yeah, Nick at the Pittsburgh Pro hit the front relax perfect. Yeah, Nick is actually he's actually a better poser than I give him credit for sometimes.
Nick's a solid poser, and think about Nick. He can pose and pose and pose. Like he just hit round after round after round. Listen, people don't get it. I think Nick, he's gonna be a problem for people, at the Olympia. That dude. Because some guys won't be in shape, but he'll be in shape. And we've seen now if you're in shape, you're gonna place high.
Oh, it's good. Now we're getting political up. We're getting world event new updates. Iran just launched missiles at Tel Aviv. It's not, man. Like I said, I think Hadi's going to be okay. I think he's going to skate by all this political stuff.
You hope so. Hope so, man.
I hope so. I'd be very.
He's one of the best athletes. You know what I mean? It sucks that they get caught up in all kind of bullshit when they have no. You know what I mean? It's because the governments hate each other. The people suffer. You know what I'm saying? Like, Hadi. I'm sure Hadi. Listen, I don't know how Hadi thinks, but I don't care. He's a great bodybuilder. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to know I don't know his politics, and I don't want to know his politics. No interest in hearing what he has to say about Israel or any of that stuff. I don't want to know.
Yeah, we're good on that. And hopefully somebody in his camper is just kind of keeping them off the internet.
Yeah, there's a good shot. I couldn't find a full page. I wanted that picture on the right to use, and I couldn't find it like the full picture. It was always cropped out. But that's Haney outside in the front relax shot. That's a
Mr. Olympia. That's a classic physique. And again, people, I don't think he's not shitting on these guys now. It's just there's a certain look they had back then that that we don't have now. Bodybuilding it's a different sport. And I don't get how guys won't go into it, but classic is popular. Is very popular, right? So we're not going to go back in open bodybuilding to that classic look because this look at that.
And that's Lee posted that. He's a huge Samson fan. He said the return of Excalibur.
Jesus.
See, to me, he looks so much more impressive with his arms down like that than when he has his elbows flared up.
Like that is how Mr. Olympia should be.
Yeah. I mean, if he comes in shredded this year like we've never seen, nobody's touching Samson. Come on.
And it's funny in person, man. He's a giant of a man.
Yeah.
He's just a big dude.
100%. I mean, 305 in shape. Yeah, Lee never had those elbows up.
No, and to me that's my GOAT. That's the greatest to me of all time. Period. I know Ronnie was awesome. Everybody loves Ronnie, but that's the guy I came up with, and that's the guy. I can still get fanboy moments around certain people, and Manuel attests to this. Yeah. Like Lee Haney, I still get that kind of 16-year-old boy meeting his role idol again. Just as a 52-year-old man. So it's the kind of respect and admiration that you have for him. Because he did everything the right way in our sport. And he's not only he's older, but he's just of a different generation, man.
Yeah, I really get bummed when I hear some of the young people calling him, he thinks all the guys now suck. And not at all. Like we said, he's a huge Samson fan. He likes Andrew Jack. He's more into the classic type of shape and structure. He doesn't like to block your physiques. That's it. He's not a fan of the Nick Walker, Derek Lunsford, the shorter, stockier guys, and that's his opinion. It's all.
And I'm like, exactly. And he's 5'11". But again, you know what, too, though? It's an opinion, right? It's Lee Haney's opinion. And I think we're at a place in the world where having an opinion is just frowned upon. It's not a personal attack is different. If you I hate him because whoa, slow down, Karen. Right? But saying I'm not a fan of his physique, it's that's okay. You don't have to be. You know what I mean? I wasn't a fan of Ed Kawak, right? No big deal. I was a fan of Bob Parrish, Sean Ray, those guys. There's guys now, I'm not a fan of their physiques, but I love seeing them compete. They may have the physique that I had or wish I had, right? There's no more Dexter's gone, but there's some guys now that, I think like Keon has the best physique in bodybuilding.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Yep.
By far.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's just, you can have an opinion about someone and someone still shouldn't get upset or butthurt about it.
Yeah, we have this argument all the time. When I'm talking about physiques, I'm not talking about the person. There are people that I have so much respect and admiration for, but if they have big flaws in their physique, I have to comment on that. And likewise, there occasionally through the years have been people I knew were not good people for whatever reason. I won't even get into any details. I just knew they were not good human beings, but they had fantastic physiques, and I praised the hell out of physiques because it's like music. Maybe some musicians some of them have been like pedophiles, murderers, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they have some of these people still had amazing music. I don't hate their music just because I know they were not good human beings.
Yeah.
I just appreciate the music or movie director's work or something. So same thing here.
But some people can't separate the two. Right. And a lot of people react and comment on emotion, right? And not like don't think it through. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know, man. It's a different era. The social media thing. It's a whole different era where you have instant access to these guys. We had to write a letter, right? And I'm not going to sit down and write a letter to saying, hey, so-and-so, you suck. And then stamp it and mail it. You know what I mean? So I think there's also a lack of appreciation for like the level of work that these guys have put in. Especially the old guys. Listen, these guys don't know Lee. They don't know Lee Haney's story. They don't know Barry DeMay, right? They know Chris Bumstead. They know Sam Sulik.
Yeah.
Right. The dinosaurs like us, like we know these guys. We idolize these guys. We appreciate these guys. These kids now, man. Again.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, here's a kid right here, 17. Who do you guys think from Classic would do the best in Open? A lot of people say Urs should switch over. I say it's this. To me, it's this guy, Sommerfeld.
Yes. I don't think Urs is wide enough to be an open guy. This dude, look at that.
I mean, I don't think he'd even need to be much bigger to do damages like a 212.
Not in this era. And I think it would be also seeing him a little bit fuller, what he would look like, and also seeing a 212 guy pose like this, right? We don't see that. Like this. I don't know, man. These guys are great. All of them are good posers.
Oh, the Classic guys in general are much better posers in the Open. They clearly put a lot more time and effort into the posing practice.
I don't know, man. I get that's your one time to kind of show off what you got to entertain the crowd. I would remember we used to get 90 seconds for a posing routine. I'd use them all 90 seconds.
Yeah. That's
60, you know what I mean?
60 if you're lucky.
Jesus, that's crazy.
Urs, I think the reason I don't see him doing well in Open is those arms. Trust me, I know all about being limited by arms that aren't great, and he's somebody that would suffer. That would be the front double. People would he'd compare badly to guys with huge arms. The side try, he's got a beautiful physique. It's just luckily in Classic you can get away with not having spectacular. It's really the triceps that he needs. His buys aren't bad. It's the tries that need to be fuller and round.
And Classic is about the overall structure, the classical look to the physique, right? So you don't need like Mike Moderato's type arms, but doesn't Urs get up to like 275?
Yeah, why? Because he can't be any heavier than 220 on stage. 222.
Lord,
I don't know why he gets so heavy, but that's why you keep hearing about Urs should do Classic. It's because he does get so big and heavy. But he diets down. He doesn't look any bigger to me. So I don't know why he's getting so big. I've heard that. I think it was an old coach of his said he loves to eat and he gains weight pretty easily. It's just, it's not going to the arms. He's got great
God bless him, man. Listen, if you got to diet as much as he does, enjoy that shit, bro. Enjoy that muffin or cheeseburger in the off season.
Hottie is in the military, like he's actively in the military. I don't know about that, dude.
I don't know, dude.
First of all, he's I think he's legally. Can you even say deaf? What do you have to say, like hard of hearing impaired? Or
I don't know where we're at. I don't know where we're at in this world.
Whatever the politically correct term is, he has massive what the hell they call them? Hearing aids.
Yeah,
because Iran probably doesn't have little tiny ones like we.
Oh, right. So he could be in the military.
So you can't be in the military if you can barely hear anything. Even with hearing aids, I think he can. He still has to kind of read your lips, because every interview he does, you can see him really staring hard at the guy talking to him, even in Farsi.
Internet's undefeated still.
Paul Dillette staying there between poses, looked like he'd win the. Oh yeah, from the front, absolutely. In fact, I was at his pro debut. Him and Flex.
Well, no, you were no Iron Man, right?
Yeah, they both made their pro debut at that show, and when they came out, it was like at the top of the stairs, like a silhouette. And Dillette, you're like, oh my God, what is that? The shoulders was just like 4 feet wide and big as freaking basketballs.
Dude, at the Arnold Classic, the crowd gasped when he came out. It was like
Simpson's never his midsections. He doesn't have the greatest abs. That's true. Who's this Mandy Towel person? Which statement is? I'm so far behind. I don't know what statement you're confirming. You said something about Mandy.
What did she say? I can't read it.
I confirmed this statement.
We're a little behind, honey.
We're so far past it. I'm sorry. Alon Powers and Shinley's comments reference the younger generation PED misses. Yeah. I'm talking about PED misuse. Yeah. Erz's arms are his detriment. Looking if you can ever build him, to be frank. I mean, he's still a young guy, so I don't want to say never, but I mean, if they haven't really improved much in all this time. What did she tell you what it was in reference to?
No, she did. She's getting Mandy can attest to that. I'll find out.
Okay, very well. We're still talking about
a lot of times, bro. If you have a weaker body part, it is what it is, right? Nasser never brought his back up, right? Sometimes you're not gonna go from crappy arm. I'm not saying you got crappy arms, but small arms to huge arms, right? It's just my calves were never gonna be like Mike Matarazzo. It is what it is, no matter how big. No matter what you do, right? So even at a bigger, and maybe some guys may want to be open bodybuilders, but I think if Erz was going to do open show, the hype would kind of like what it was with Bumstead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, so if this guy, if he's in Germany, so he follows it pretty closely. He says he's still pretty lean at 275. Well, if that's the case, I don't know why he doesn't pull a Bumstead and after the Olympia. Hit the Prague show or hit one of those. There's a few Olympia shows. Got nothing to lose at that point. Just try it.
Make some cash. Maybe make some money.
If he really is fairly lean at 270 or whatever, and he drops 50 pounds, I bet he would still look pretty damn good at 15 pounds or more over whatever the classic limit is for him. So,
I dropped 50 pounds and looked like that was awful. I thought I was like shredded at 250. Surprise.
Oh, dude, I used to because when I was natty. I would bulk up to 230. Woo! It was a very, very not a pretty 230, as you might imagine. And every time I diet down, I was exactly the same. I'd lose, like 50 pounds. Man, well, what happened? I must have dieted away all my muscle, right? No.
Awful, man.
Beirut is the one that serves in the military, not Hadi. That makes more sense.
Oh, damn.
I have heard that. Different ethnicities have different strengths and weaknesses. Sure. Are we going to go there? Let's start with our Asian brothers. Amazing legs.
Huge
quads. I've never seen one with weak calves ever.
No.
Like Chinese, Korean. There's a ton of Chinese and Korean bodybuilders and classic guys, the 212 guys. I haven't seen many of them with really great backs.
No. That's just a genetic thing. It's just not. It's nothing racist. It's just
why I don't know. Why can't they build backs? Why do they build legs so easily?
I don't know.
Because and it's not just the shorter ones. Because I have seen some of this. I can't remember his name right now, but there's a Korean guy. He's not short. He's like 6 foot. He's played placed top 6 in a few pro shows.
I know what you're talking about.
I can't think of his name right now, but he's got great legs, and he's not because I've heard other people say it's because they're short. Let's see.
And the sweep is awesome too. The teardrop is very pronounced and big.
Yeah. Ethnicities, you can go all across the board, but I'd say like the white bodybuilders, maybe they get the grainier skin a little bit easier. Maybe they have thinner skin. That would be. And I'd say you can't say African Americans. That would exclude all the black guys that weren't in America. But I mean, rounder, fuller muscle bellies seem to be a black thing. You don't see too many black bodybuilders with weak arms.
No.
And you don't see many of them with great calves.
No. Chris Dickerson's the exception, right? And Vince Taylor. That's about really, Yeah. Well, also too, the muscle insertions are a little bit higher as well.
Right. No, I mean you'll see guys walking around. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but we all see like fat middle-aged guys walking around with these monster calves. They've never done a calf raise in their life. It's not like they were cyclists or something that would have given them the calves. Just that you could see where it inserts down by the ankle.
Yeah.
If you have low calf insertions, you'll never need to do a single calf raise in your life. Just like forearms. You see the guys with these Popeye forearms, like Lee Priest, the late Mike Mentzer. They weren't sitting there doing wrist curls all day. That was just from grabbing dumbbells. They just had forearms inserted. Flex Lewis, another one. Their forearms insert all the way down at the damn wrist.
Yeah, and when you see Flex Lewis's calves, it looks like it just doesn't look. It doesn't look real, right? Like even Mandy's calves, she never trained her calves before, but they're humongous. You know what I'm saying? It's a genetic thing.
I can attest to that. Mandy's calves are pretty damn big. So he says Urs teases about never going open, but I wouldn't believe that. He'll
no,
I bet
he will.
Buy shoes. Beirut versus Tonio. We forgot about Nathan. Come on, don't forget about Nathan.
Oh yeah, he was pretty good too.
We think about the motorcycle pose. LOL. Like I said, Magos, I don't want to see anyone's arms way up here. I don't think they need to bring them all the way down like we see Lee Haney doing there. I think somewhere between there is probably optimal. And it's going to vary a little bit. Some guys probably will look a little bit better with the elbows tilted up a little higher. Others down. Everyone's got to figure it out for themselves.
I bet you could fit more men's physique guys on stage if their elbows were like closer together.
Well, that's why you see they space. That's the whole job of that guy on stage is to space them apart so they're not banging into each other.
But they literally went right back to super wide elbows. I think the one Olympia or Arnold they were down, and it looked good because even that's what it started off as. Their arms were kind of it was a beach body look. Remember that?
Yeah,
it was.
It
was Mark Anthony? Was Mark Anthony? He was the first Olympia, wasn't he?
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
Damn.
He wouldn't, the way he looked back then. It's like whoever was winning the bikini Olympia, Nicole Wilkins or something. No, that was figure. I can't. Was it?
Yeah,
Ashley?
it was.
I can't remember who was winning the bikini back in the early days, but
Courtney, Seabum's wife won one. You remember? She won one.
Yeah, she was one of the early winners. You're right.
Yeah.
Bikini's not, but they wouldn't place these days.
Oh no! Oh, dude, their physique. She would literally be the new fit model. It would be the fit model division.
True. Wuston Fuchs says, so all these Asian people have to take a lot of steroids to gain weight. They're naturally rather skinny. I don't think that's true. I've seen plenty of like Japanese guys that are pretty stocky. If you want to talk about the Pacific Islanders, like Samoans and Tongans, some of them are jacked without even lifting weights. They're just big, bulky. They get fat easily too, but man, they carry a lot of natural bulk. So I've never seen an Asian guy who looked to me like toxic, like he was taking massive doses, but who knows?
But even if you're a pro bodybuilder too, Ron, like you're a genetic freak. So even if you're an Asian guy, you're still an Asian pro bodybuilder. Yeah. You're still one of the genetic elite. So you respond pretty well to whatever, Yeah.
I mean, every ethnic group, every whatever race, ethnic group, whatever you want to call it, has genetic elite that are just meant to be bodybuilders.
Exactly.
Look at every interview I've done with, I always ask, like, one of the questions I always ask these guys is, when did you know that you were a little different, that you had somewhat of a gift for this? You weren't like every other schmuck in the gym. And most of them will say it was pretty fast. Like within a couple months, I was already bigger than almost everyone else at the gym who've been doing it for years. And within a year, they look like another species. And a lot of times this is before they even touch gear. Just their bodies were meant to look a certain way. what Lee Haney called the genetic blueprint. That was my Lee Haney impersonation. Yeah, Dorian, West Africans are much larger than East Africans. Absolutely.
Yep.
And I realized, why do we have so many people with Western African genetics in the USA? What do you think, Mike? What's your theory?
School?
No, I'm talking about like if you did DNA tests on most African Americans, I bet most of them are from.
Oh yeah, that was from the slave trade, bro. That was
the West Coast, because of the East Coast of Africa, they would have had to go all the way around Africa to bring them. It was just convenient. It was a shorter boat ride.
Yeah, that's exactly. You know what I mean? It's just a genetic blueprint, bro. It's a genetic, something like I remember being in high school with some kids to where like they didn't touch away. They ate the high school pizza every day.
Yeah.
The chocolate milk where they were shredded, like abs, everything. So it's just when you have that right? Like some guys are just have elite genetics, and it's like the real tall kid in high school that's got the full mustache. Well,
we had a kid in 13. So 13, we would have been 7th grade. The first Cuban ever, long before I knew I was going to marry a Cuban, George Orta. He was so stocky. He was not using gear. He was lifting, but he looked so much bigger than all of us. We called him Conan, because I think Conan had just come out a year or two before that. You can't discount genetics. They play a massive role.
People don't get that.
I mean, I saw a comment like genetics don't matter. It's all drugs. I'm like, oh, dude. I say take all the drugs you can. Take 20 grams of steroids a week. Take 100 IUs of growth hormone a day. If you could theoretically have the money. Tell me when you look like one of these guys, and you're not going to look like one of these guys.
But I think people think they see these guys in shape all the time. They don't see the hard work and the food that they're eating to look like this. You know what I mean? Like they don't see the build up to it. It's just right, especially right now. It's just the instant picture that's on Instagram. You see what I look like here. Here I am. But these guys, they're great. They're great when they're young. Sean Ray was great when he was like a kid. He looked like a grown man.
Oh, 100%. All right, so we've been going for over an hour. I think it's time to wrap it up. Good Lord, we've been going a long time. So. Yeah. Next week, hopefully Giles. He was a little bit under the weather. I'm hoping he'll be good next week for the Dubai. Take a look at that prize for Dubai. Oof.
Oh, dude,
they're giving away some good money for this. Dubai.
Is they having a webcast? You think?
I imagine so. They're like 8 hours ahead of us.
So how'd that work? We'll be up to like.
No, they're ahead, so we'll wake up and it'll like be over.
Oh, damn. Well, I'm up at like 2:00 in the morning, so I may get it.
Yeah, Dubai Pro. I'm trying to find They did have a post with the cash prizes.
I think 100. It's 140 G's for first place.
Yeah, where'd it go? Damn. That wasn't. Maybe it was a story. It's already gone. Yeah, they're giving away great money. It's good because. Like Beirut, I don't know if Beirut is ever going to get over here. Honestly, I don't have any confidence that he's going to get a visa to the USA. So I'm glad he's able to. Oh, here it is. I got it. Here you go. Is it on screen now? Yeah.
No, I can't see it. I see my pretty face.
No. Okay. I gotta make that smaller.
You good with technology? You like your own IT department, dude.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I am it. So.
Crazy,
AJ used to have. He hired these people. He called them nerds. So you need a nerd to do all this for you. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Okay, now you can see it, right?
Yes.
So first prize, 140.
Wow.
Classic physique is 70 grand.
Damn.
Men's physique, 50 grand, and 212 gets 40. So I think that's the biggest payday for 212 out of anybody.
It is. That's the same amount as the Olympia.
Yeah. So great job for these promoters.
That's a lot for classic physique too. That's a good payday.
Yeah. Nice stuff. So I think we're almost
done. That's a lot of money in the sport, man.
Dad and son are tall and skinny. So, well, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, not every tall, skinny guy has athletic ability. So they're not.
Very true.
Some of them have absolutely no coordination and
zero.
And they are not going to play any basketball or any other
game. That's genetic as well.
Yeah, I mean Phil Heath was 5'9", and he was he a point guard?
Yeah, he could dunk too. Well, he had some get up.
Was it a division? Was his school Division One?
Division One, yeah, University of Denver, Division One.
So yeah, that's pretty rare. So that's athleticism right there to be able to play at that level at 5'9".
Yes.
To us, that's not me and you. That's how I'd like to be 5'9". But
right, that's a very good. You're very good at basketball to get a Division One scholarship.
Yeah, he was it. Was he there on a athletic scholarship?
Yeah, basketball scholarship.
Oh wow, okay. Didn't even remember that.
Not bad.
Forgotten more than I remember these days. So
yeah, dude, I understand.
So we're gonna wrap it up. I want to say thank you to Big Mike Cox, Michigan Sucks. No, the Michigan Sucks. He's out. When do they play again? When's your next?
Well, the season starts in 83 days.
Okay, 3 days. You got it down.
Yes, sir. I got it down. 83 days.
College football starts that soon?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess we're already halfway through June.
It's almost July. You know what I mean? How I do is when the Little League World Series starts in August, that means college football is right around the corner. So
series. That's where like the 21-year-old Dominican kids are in there passing this 13.
Yeah, they're like 35 playing against 12-year-old.
There's always some scandal with that Little League World.
So bad, dude. They like got beards and shit.
Boy. Anyway, so yeah, thank you, Mike. Appreciate
yes, sir. Awesome,
and, yeah, guys, let me know what you think about the motorcycle stance. Leave it as is. Does it need to be toned down a little? Do we need to go back to the old school style of hitting it? Tell me what you think, guys, in your comments, or if you want to comment anything at all in the comments about any of the other random shit we talked about. Love to get your feedback, and it's good for the algorithm. So drop us a comment. That's it. So for Big Mike Cox, this is Ron Harris and the Power Hour signing out. See ya.